Welcome back to the 4 a.m. report. Today, I'm continuing the series we began last week around how to be publishing a lot more on your website. If you still find yourself in a situation where you're publishing 1 to 2 times a month based on stuff that you're creating, like 500-word blog posts that you're creating from scratch. And if you have a podcast or have a podcast on your plan, you should really think about how the publishing that is possible out of a podcast can massively up-level your SEO on your website. So the second thing, last time we talked about how everything in podcasting needs to be translated in some way to writing. And so how to use the material that originates out of your podcast in multiple pieces of writing, not just one. Today, we're going to focus on formats. Let's focus on the fact that typically a blog is considered a written piece. And that's not true. A blog is just a repository of content on your website. Within that, you could have multiple formats. You could have video, you could have Tumblr-style image blogs, with captions, obviously, because it's still read by the search engine crawlers based on text. You could be doing video. And don't forget, the actual podcast, if it has a home on your website, every time you publish a podcast and it shows up on your website, that counts as well as publishing, right? So really think about different formats. We've curated a bunch of clips for you over here that are based on the idea of using different formats to publish some more. These are conversations between Will Lamont and I from previous podcast episodes we've made. And this should help you get a really clear understanding on how to break down the silos between different outputs as it relates to publishing on your website. Because if you have a podcast, you should easily expect to double or triple your publishing goals. And you should try to bring them together so you're doing less individual streams. So have a listen. Welcome to the 4 a.m. report. On this podcast, we dish about fresh-pressed, fun marketing. If you're stressed out and awake at night again, wondering what to do, you found your joy. I'm your host, Susan Diaz, podcasting founder, humor junkie, observer of human behavior patterns, and mom. Each week, we break down the latest headlines at the intersection of marketing and entertainment. A blog post, even if written is the method that most people recognize, and it is also the way in which the SEO gods read you in the system. So you do need the written word. That said, your blog does not need to be populated only with that. So think about if you're recording the podcast or if there's been an interview that has factored into your written piece or whatever it is, going back to your example, a small snippet of the video itself from this, which makes a key point, maybe the roundup, which quickly talks about 2 or 3 things, that can become a video post within your blog. And then in order to keep it recognized, you're potentially posting it on LinkedIn or wherever it is on social that you're posting it. So grab the text that you used to introduce your post on there and put it on your website as well. Because bear in mind, so many of us are creating for social media and for platforms, third-party platforms, whether they are podcasts or, social media or any one of those. You do want to make sure you're capturing it on your website, right? And it seems really obvious, but I think many people miss that step of posting it onto their own blog. Thank you for listening to the 4 a.m. report. If you like what you're hearing, we'd love if you left us a 5-star review.